the door when the lights flash.
When the signal came, Smith knocked on the door. He was left in the kitchen.
All of a sudden, there's screaming, there's swearing, there's banging around. She screams, "Dave, Dave, help him."
Ian Brady was standing over him, facing him, with his legs on either side of the young lad's legs. The lad was still screaming. Ian had a hatchet in his hand.
It's very violent. Very, very violent.
I heard the blow. It was a terrible, hard blow. It sounded horrible.
Now, do you believe me?
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Break the ice. The sun is shining. The apple tree over there will be growing apples soon, I suppose. Right, welcome to a brand new series, the True Crime Review, where I will be, believe it or not, reviewing true crime. Whether that be true crime cases, whether that be interrogations, or whether that be, and this is what I'm going to start off with, I'll tell you why, because where I got the idea from, dramatised TV versions of true crime. So basically, I'm kicking straight off with, as you will already know by the introduction, with the Moors murders and the original. It was originally on ITV. The Moors murders, See No Evil. Absolutely, if you're interested in the Moors murders, it's an absolutely fantastic drama. I'm very, very heavily invested in the Moors murders. I became very good friends with a brother of one of the victims. A lot of you all already know this. Terry Kilbride. Terry Kilbride was a brother of John Kilbride, who is the second victim of the Moors murders. I met Leslie Ann Downey's brother, sadly, at Terry Kilbride's funeral. And I have messages now and again with Keith Bennett's brother. The introduction to this video is from a video that it's already on my channel, and it's when I went to Ian Brady and Mary Hindley's house, and that is where they murdered Edward Evans. That is where they took Leslie Ann Downey. She was tortured and she was photographed and she was bound and gagged, and she then got took up to the Moors. So that is the house. Now, what you saw at the start in the introduction is me at the house, and then it's cut up with clips from the drama that I'm about to review to you. So obviously everything I do in this series, the True Crime Review, spoiler alert. If you don't know anything about the Moors murders, then I would recommend going watching my playlist on my channel, the Moors murders playlist, because you're getting first-hand accounts from a victim's brother. So the reason that I am kicking off this series, and the reason I'm starting with this Moors murders See No Evil drama, is because I found out yesterday that this drama is coming out on Netflix towards the end of March. And it made me think, like, why have I never reviewed this? With my investment and my involvement in the Moors murders case, and with my connections to the Kilbride family and becoming friends with Terry, why have I never reviewed this? Because I asked Terry in my interview, I asked him this. It was See No Evil, the Moors murders. Now, does that depict the events accurately?
Yes.
It does?
Yeah, bang on.
Now,
bang on. Even up to where my dad got arrested and everything, it is absolutely bang on. Inspector Mounsey, how he was in it, is exactly how he was, I remember.
So if people were to watch that particular drama, they'd get quite a good understanding
Oh,
of.
yeah.
So as you see there, I asked him, like, how true to life is it? Bang on, bang on. You just heard him say it there. So if you do have an interest in the Moors murders, or you, maybe the opposite, you don't know anything about it, the victim's brother has just said that this drama depicts the true life events of the Moors murders bang on. So if you're going to start anywhere, go and watch that drama. And watch the playlist on this channel, of course. You know, I was planning to say as well, go and watch this on Netflix, but it's actually on ITV now. So go and watch it now, right? So yeah, obviously, spoiler alert's coming up. If you want to go and watch that drama first or watch anything on my playlist, go and do that and come back and check out my take on the drama. The only thing about the ITV version is you've got to sit through a shitload of adverts. Like every 15 minutes or so, you've got like 4 minutes of adverts. It's a bit boring to sit through them. You can't skip them. Do you know what I mean? If you wanted to wait for the Netflix version that's out at the end of the month, The Moors Murders, See No Evil. It is from the point of view, largely, it's from the point of view of Myra Hindley's sister Maureen and her partner Dave Smith. So the casting of this is absolutely sublime, especially the casting of Maureen Hindley, who's played by Joanne Froggatt, one of my favourite actors. She's absolutely brilliant. In fact, I've just watched the series Liar on ITV X again. Just started series 2 of Liar. Not as great, but Joanne Froggatt, fantastic actor. And you've got Sean Harris, who plays Ian Brady. And you really believe that this is Ian Brady. He plays him in such a way that you don't know what Brady's going to do next. He plays him in such a way that Brady appears very, very unpredictable. And I think that's how Brady was back when he was doing what he was doing back in the 60s. You've then got Maxine Peake, who plays Myra Hindley. And you've got a guy that plays Dave Smith. Good performance. I've forgotten his name, but it's right there now. Look at that. The joy of editing. In reality, I'm pointing at nothing. But on the screen, I'm pointing at the name. Bang. It's gone. Bang. So it starts off, 60s setting, 60s music. Good feel. You feel like you're in that kind of era. And it starts off with Maureen. She's got a baby in a pram. And she goes to visit Myra. Now, with the hindsight that we've got, Myra had already killed 4 children with Brady, and then she's there kind of mollycoddling and drooling over this baby, her niece, even though she knows what she is actively doing. And then you've got this man walk into Hindley and Maureen into an office, and straight away there's a mood shift, and you've got Ian Brady announcing himself. Straight away strikes you as a weird kind of person, but also Myra Hindley's attitude towards him, how it's played. Very, very pandering, idolises him clearly. Very, very, very smitten over him, and clearly she would do anything and did do anything for this guy. And that's the vibe that you get at the beginning. And what you've got to bear in mind is that I have got the knowledge from a victim's brother that this drama is bang on. So you can watch it knowing, like, Jesus, it was like this. It was like this. Do you know what I mean? I won't give you every single scene, but we'll go through it kind of chunk at a time. Now, what we learn quite fast is that Maureen and Dave have got financial problems. He's skint. If they don't pay the rent, they're going to get kicked out. And he needs to find a way to pay his rent. Maureen wants Dave to mingle more with Myra and Ian. And he's not really a big fan of this. He thinks he's a weirdo, right? But anyway, they get together and they start drinking, and this becomes a regular thing. And Dave and Ian start spending more time with each other. You've got Maureen and Myra, who are obviously sisters. So there would be evenings where they'd all be together drinking wine and whatnot and chatting, and the girls would go off to bed. And Dave was only 16. Brady was early 20s, maybe 24, something like that. Dave was quite impressionable. Over time, they were spending more time together, and Dave was getting quite impressed with Ian because he started to produce guns, and he was trying to show off to Dave, and he suggested that they do a bank job. Dave needed the money. What Brady was doing all along was basically grooming, and he was trying to mould Dave into somebody that he could bring into the Moles murders. The police believed back then that Brady was getting tired of Myra, and he wanted to bring someone else into it. He may have murdered Myra and tried to replace with Dave, who knows. But the feel is that he wanted to bring someone else into the Moles murders. He wanted to share it. He wanted to share this secret that he's got with more than Myra. So the bank job is spoken about, and the guns are spoken about. And then you've got Sean Harris perfecting his accent really well, better than I'm going to do now. And he goes, "If you're in the bank and someone tries to stop you, and the police are on the way and you've got the gun, what do you do? What do you do?" As in, you're going to shoot him. Yeah, Dave don't want to shoot him. He wants to use these guns as, just a threat. Just a scare tactic kind of thing. Around this time, they're going to the moors a lot. Myra and Ian are taking Maureen and Dave up to the moors. Brady and Hindley know why they're going up to the moors. Maureen and Dave don't know that they're going to their little private cemetery. So Brady and Hindley are going up for one reason, to dance on the graves, as it were, to relive it, to be where they have murdered and buried these children. And they take Dave and Maureen up under the guise of, Ian Brady saying, "I love this place, it owns my soul." Some creepy shit. I've been up on the moors a few times, yeah, and sometimes a day like this, right, it is beautiful, it's stunning, yeah, but there's an undertone of, you can feel it, something bad happened here, it's vast, it's so big, but there's an undertone to it, where no matter how beautiful it looks, there's a very weird vibe there, and Keith's out there, still. Brady wants Dave to stand on certain locations, on certain spots. He was putting Dave on the graves and probably getting off on that. Sadly, Dave and Maureen lose their child. Natural causes, but they lose their child at quite a young age. And you've got a scene where the four of them are together. And this is cold, this. But Brady says, "I think we should go for a drive out." Myra looks at him. She gives him these eyes because she knows what's coming. Their baby's just died. And Brady's idea is to take the four of them up to the moors, surrounded by dead bodies that they'd murdered and buried. Sick, sick stuff. But it's very true to life. This is what these people were like. This is Brady and this is Hindley. They take them up to the moors. He's standing on the graves again, Dave. He doesn't know it. And I think that Brady now is spotting a weakened man. This is my opinion now. He's spotting a weakened man. He's got no money. He's lost his child. Maureen is beside herself, obviously. It can test couples when you lose a child. I think this is when he kind of went in and started to really think, like, I can get this guy. I can get this guy on side. Brady has the idea to go out to Manchester and pick up a businessman to bring him back for homosexual relations. Because I think Brady was bi at best. Maybe Myra as well was bi at best. That's, pardon the pun, that's by the by. That's kind of irrelevant. Brady went out to Manchester on a night to bring back this lad, Edward Evans. And the plan with Edward Evans was to bring him back to the house, and then Dave Smith would then be called around and they would rob him. They would rob this guy. Dave didn't have a clue who Ian was going to get, but he came out with a 16, 17-year-old boy called Edward Evans. And the plan was that Dave would go and be fetched by Myra, and Dave would go back to the house and they would rob this guy, get his money, scare him, rob him, get his wallet, and he'd have money that he needs. Dave Smith was no angel. Dave Smith was no angel, but Dave Smith was no Moors murderer, right? Myra comes in the night and she turns up at the flat where Dave and Maureen live. And under the guise that she needs to pass on a message to Maureen. We're in the days before phones were really about, you know, people had to go to each other's houses and stuff like that. I've just come to let you pass on a message to Mam or something. She's like, is that it? Yeah. And she looks at Dave and goes, Dave, could you walk me home? He says, I don't fancy walking home in the dark. Dave gets the hint that, you know, they've got someone. They're walking back, and he says, you know, has he got him? Has he got the businessman? Now, what I'm going to talk about in this next bit is all that's at the beginning, in the introduction, in the start of the video. So she's there, she's wait outside till the flash the lights. All this is true to life. She flashes the lights, Dave goes over, and as you heard again in the beginning, Dave Smith doesn't know what's about to happen, right? But he goes in, waits in the kitchen. Dave, help him, runs into the living room. And you see some... They're only short, these little clips. As I've got them at the beginning of this video, that's kind of how short they are in the actual drama, because it's graphic. And the way it's shot and filmed, and the atmosphere, it's done in such a way that really makes you kind of shit yourself for Dave and feel scared for... You're scared of these people. You're scared of Brady and Hindley. They've got all the red light, darks. It's dark, but with red light undertones in that house when he's murdering him. It's horrific. And Dave thinks he's going there to rob this man. And the next thing he's seeing, Brady axe this kid, this 16, 17-year-old, axe him to death. Now, I've covered... There's a video, I think there is. There's a video, yeah, there is. There's a video about Dave Smith on this channel. If you want to know more about Dave Smith and who he was, it's on this channel. A full video about Dave Smith. Now, Dave Smith went into this room and saw the slaughter. I think he knew he was being tested though. Dave Smith had to help clean up the body. He had to pick up bone and pick up skull and tissue. He had to mop floors and wipe down surfaces. He had to clean up the murder that Brady had just done. And he was cleaning up. It was mainly him and Myra, but Brady was part of it, as he says, because there is first-hand accounts from Dave Smith on this channel. Now, he says the steps that were taken after he cleaned up were purely so he could get out of that house. He was that scared. He knew if he showed any sign of fear or any sign of being against this, he was not leaving that house. So you see him cleaning up, wiping down. And then they sat there drinking tea. They've already wrapped the body up. The body's upstairs. And they sat there drinking tea, smoking cigarettes, having a normal conversation. That's what Dave said. In real life, it's a normal conversation. But he said he had to do anything to get out of that house. And the drama depicts it. He sat there drinking his tea, trying to show no fear, no emotion. And he says, to tomorrow then, you know, the day of the bank job. He leaves the house. Myra gives him this look, this smile. And he leaves and he runs home. He absolutely runs home. And he gets back to the flat. And Maureen goes into the bathroom and he's vomiting. Maureen, played by Joanne Froggatt, brilliant. And she said, bloody hell, Dave, I told you not to stay up drinking with Ian. And that's where she sees his t-shirt, it's covered in blood. She's like, bloody hell, Dave, what's happened? And Ian's just killed someone. What? Ian's just killed someone. And then she's can't get her head around it, obviously. But then she's concerned for Myra. You know, she's concerned about her safety. And he's like, she's part of it. She's part of it. And Maureen can't get her head around this. She just cannot get her head around this at all. And for quite a lot of the drama and quite a lot of real life, she didn't want to believe or couldn't believe that Myra would be part of murder. Never mind what came out later on. So she says, we need to go to the police. And he says, what if he's waiting outside for me now? What if he thinks I'm going to do that? He might be waiting for me. So she says, well, we'll wait till light, but we've got to do it. So then you see them in the morning and they go to Hyde police station. They leave the flat. He's got a bread knife. They go to a phone box. They call the police. And they get picked up and they go to Hyde police station. And he says, I've just seen a murder. Just seen a murder. Now you see them in the station. And the police don't know what to make of it. The police officer says, this guy says he's seen someone murdered, but it's nothing to do with him. I don't know what to make of it. Next thing, Brady and Hindley come through the police station, directly walk straight past Maureen and Dave. And they both go in for questioning. Now, while this is all going on, you've got an officer called Inspector Mounsey. Now, Inspector Mounsey, has been looking into missing children cases. John Kilbride, Keith Bennett, Leslie Ann Downey. He's been looking into them. He's been visiting John Kilbride's family. You see the little Terry. Well, Terry was a 68-year-old man when I knew him, but he's a little kid in this. Well, Mounsey, big respect to Mounsey. Terry would want me to say this. He had massive respect for Mounsey, because without Mounsey, the missing children in John and in Keith, well, Keith's still missing sadly, but Leslie, they may not have been found. He was probing into these missing children cases more and more and more. Him looking into these cases is played in parallel to Maureen, Dave, Brady and Hindley going on their little field trips to the moors and organising bank jobs and getting this businessman back to the house and murdering him. That's running alongside, but it's not all been kind of put together yet. Now, Ian Brady confesses to the murder of Edward Evans, and Dave Smith is told about this. And the police officer says, but he says that you were part of it. And he was like, no, I wasn't, I just watched. Ian Brady was trying to take Dave down with him. Myra Hindley says my version of events are exactly the same as Ian's. So Ian's taking the rap for it, even though she was part of it. My version of events are exactly the same as Ian's, over and over and over again, over again. After the murder of Edward Evans, Brady and Hindley's house was searched and they found a book, Brady's book, and had loads of names in it. It had Alec Guinness, it had all sorts of names, but one of the names was John Kilbride. So Mounsey got onto this when he's interviewing him. Why is John Kilbride's name in your book? Have you heard about John Kilbride? He's being questioned. Brady denies any knowledge of John Kilbride. You must have heard of John Kilbride. All this kind of stuff. This is where it starts to then develop into the Moors murders. Because Dave says that Ian has bragged that he's killed before. He bragged that he'd killed people and buried them on the moors. And that Dave had stood on the graves. He's slowly getting closer into unveiling that this isn't just one murder. This is a series of murders which would become to be known as the Moors murders. So Dave declares that, and interrogation goes on, and they don't believe that Dave is not part of it. We've then got a scene where the police turn up at Maureen and Dave's house, Dave's flat, and they're asking him questions, and they're talking about the bank job. And then Maureen's like, what bank job? Me and Dave had this plan to rob a bank. Jesus Christ, Dave, what else haven't you told me? Police officers want more information. They want more information. He said they may have said something about left luggage. What do you mean, left luggage? He goes, they just said that they've all incriminating evidence needs to be disposed of. So they search the house and they find a receipt to left luggage in the spine of a prayer book, of all the places, in the spine of a prayer book. And that receipt is for Manchester Central Station. They go to the locker, they get the left luggage, and it's full of incriminating evidence. This is what nails them bastards. Yeah, there's tapes of Leslie and Downey, like reel-to-reel audio tapes. There's graphic pictures of Leslie in this left luggage. There's books. There's all sorts of stuff in there, incriminating stuff. Now, in these suitcases, you've got this incriminating evidence. You've got Leslie and Downey evidence. You've got John Kilbride's name in a book. And they're in the centre of this area where these kids have gone missing from. You've got him for the murder of Edward Evans. It's all starting to look a bit grim for them. They then pull Dave in and make him listen to the tape of Leslie and Downey. And he's crying and he's sobbing. He's crying his eyes out. Tell us what happened. You know what happened because you was there. He goes, no, I wasn't. He's crying. The officer then says, I'll make you listen to it, lad. I'll make you listen to it all night long. You were there. He goes, I wasn't. He goes, there's something that you're not telling me. This is when Dave confesses to the fact that they arranged to bring Edward Evans back to the house. He said, we arranged to rob him. I was skint. We arranged to rob him. Why didn't you tell us, lad? He goes, because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking the same as me. That if I hadn't made that plan with Ian, that Edward Evans would still be alive. But I haven't hurt any children. Please tell me you believe that. And Mounsey goes, I do actually, lad, yeah. Have another cigarette. And they do believe him. So the evidence is building and Dave's admitted to Edward Evans and the suitcases have been found. John's name's in the book. And photographs that were in the suitcases, very infamous photographs now of Brady and Hindley on the moors and Myra kneeling and looking down at the ground. And Mounsey put it together because he's putting all the pieces together now. He's gone, you always go to the moors. Dave Smith said that Brady has said that he's murdered and buried them on the moors, and that Dave Smith stood on the graves. We've got evidence of the murder of Leslie and Downey. We've got John Kilbride's name, and we've now got these photographs on the moors of Myra Hindley looking down. And Mounsey puts it together. Is this a grave? Is this you on a grave? This is him talking to Myra Hindley. Is this you kneeling on a grave? Is this you kneeling on a grave? Saying the same thing to Brady. Why is Myra looking down at the ground? What's special about that piece of ground? I don't know. Why is she looking down at the ground? You have to ask her. Well, I'm asking a photographer. I don't know, I must have admired the composition. But Malmsey's linking this all together now. Too much evidence is mounting up. And he believes that these pictures of Myra looking down are them marking graves. And they were right. Malmsey says something to Brady. He says, Dave told us that you said you've murdered. And you buried them on the moors. And Brady goes, fiction. And Malmsey goes, well, I've got 3 police forces digging up your fiction right now. Mic drop moment. Leslie Ann Downey's found by beat sticks going into the ground. And John is found by matching up a photograph of Myra looking at the ground. And they go onto the moors and they try and find the same scene. So they've got a photograph here and trying to match the background up to where they are stood. And they did it. And they dug there and there was John Kilbride. John Kilbride was found, Leslie Ann Downey was found, and Edward Evans, they'd already established that he was murdered by Brady. They then go to trial, and Dave is a chief prosecution witness because he saw a murder. Dave stood up and testified, was a witness. He told the court what he saw. And with his testimony and with the evidence that they had, with the unearthing of John Kilbride, going off the pictures, with the tape recordings of Leslie Ann Downey, and with finding Leslie on the moors, Brady was sentenced to 3 life sentences. And for the murders of Leslie Ann Downey, John Kilbride, and Edward Evans, Myra was sentenced to 2 life sentences for the murder of Edward Evans and Leslie Ann Downey, and for being an accessory after the fact for John Kilbride. She denied it for a good 20 years, but that's not part of the drama. It doesn't go that far. So they get banged up, and then Dave and Maureen then have to live their lives, and they get visited by Malmsey, and he tells him, you've got to get on with the rest of your lives now, all this kind of stuff. But Dave has been labelled as the 3rd Moors murderer. You see, as if this comes out in the drama, as it comes out that Ian Brady and Myra Hindley have murdered these children, and that Dave was there for the murder of Edward Evans, he's tarnished with the brush of, you're a Moors murderer. You're the 3rd Moors murderer. That's what they called him, the 3rd Moors murderer. Whereas really, he was a rogue lad. There was no angel, bit of a scally you'd call him now, that was prepared to rob someone. Yeah, that's bad, obviously. But he wasn't a child murderer. And this drama depicts the events of the Moors murders bang on. And that comes from John Kilbride's actual brother, who told me that. The rest of the drama is post-sentencing. We now like leak into the 70s. Maureen has had to give up her kids to care because she can't handle that she is a Hindley and that she's a mother. She's a sister of Myra. She can't handle it. She goes into a depression, drinking. I think the stress would get to you, wouldn't it? Eventually, Dave takes custody of the children. Their relationship's over through all of this. She tries to visit these children. Her and Dave try to make a go of it, but it won't work. Too much stuff has happened. And she can't handle it. And she's boozing. And she doesn't feel like she deserves to be a mother because she's Myra's sister. They try to make a go of it. Maureen then goes to see Hindley in prison. Hindley is reformed and she's turned to God, as they always do. She seeks forgiveness. She's seeking forgiveness, but she's denying that she was involved in any of the murders. Dave Smith finds out that Maureen has been to see Myra. And Maureen says, like, she tells me she wasn't part of it. She says she wasn't part of it, and I believe her. How can she not be part of it? She's heard on the tapes, because she is heard on the tapes with the torture of Leslie Ann. She's heard. Nearly swore then. Nearly dropped an F-bomb. She's heard loud and clear on these tapes, Myra Hindley. She's well and truly part of it. Dave and Maureen cannot go on together. She doesn't believe that Myra's committed these crimes. She's denied it. I think that she is in denial, because Maureen heard her sister on the tape with Leslie Ann. But I think she's in pure denial. And like I said, it wasn't until 20 years later that she admitted to any murders, and that was self-serving. More info about that is on this channel. Just go through the playlist if you're interested in the Moors murders, and you'll find out a lot more about it. But she's focusing on this drama. You see Maureen get up one morning and she says she's got to nip out to the chemist. She leaves the house and she never returns. And it's a sad ending for everybody. Dave Smith led the rest of his life being tarnished as the third Moors murderer. He had to move to Ireland. He was attacked daily. His kids spat on because he was there for the murder of Edward Evans. But without him going to the police and reporting that murder, the Moors murders may never have been found out about. John Kilbride, Leslie Ann Downey, Pauline Reed would probably never have been found. Keith Bennett's still out there. Keith Bennett will be found one day, I'm sure of it. So as I said, this is from the perspective of Maureen and Dave, and it's a tragic ending. She feels like she can't be a mother anymore. They can't be in a relationship. She's struggling to believe that Myra had any involvement. He's adamant that she did. He saw her when they were cleaning up Edward Evans and she was loving it. She was relishing the moment. So he knows. So them two can't be together. So all in all, a very, very gripping, dramatic account of the Moors murders. Very, very true to life. Obviously, some scenes where it's just two people in a house or whatever, you can never know exactly what happened unless you're a fly on the wall. But according to Terry Kilbride, brother of John, this is bang on. The depiction of Mounsey, Inspector Mounsey, bang on. His own father, the depiction of him is bang on. When he was getting locked up, everything is spot on. The portrayal of Brady and Hindley is it's on point to the evil that they were, and all of the events and all of the work that Mounsey did, all of the efforts. And at one point in this drama, Mounsey says to an officer, "What happens now?" This is after the confession of the murder of Edward Evans. "What happens now?" And he goes, "Well, it's doubles over at the Queen's on me." "Now, what do you mean?" "This officer is saying, I'm going to go and get the drinks in." What about Keith Bennett, John Kilbride, Leslie Ann?" "Well, they're irrelevant now. We've got him for the murder of Edward Evans, and they'll do life for that." And Mounsey's like, "Well, that's not good for the families, is it?" Without Mounsey and his work, they were quite happy to just stop there and then. One of the officers was to just stop there and then. They've got them for Edward Evans. Do life for that. Who cares about the rest of the potential victims? But Mounsey's hard work, which is portrayed brilliantly in this drama. Without him, they would never have found the victims of the Moors murders. The portrayal from Sean Harris is impeccable. You are scared of this man. You really do feel that Brady could do anything at any moment in this drama. The emotions that Maureen goes through, played by Joanne Froggatt, is brilliantly played. Myra Hindley, Maxine Peake, playing Myra Hindley. It must have been a very hard role to even accept. Again, according to Terry, it's bang on. Everyone did a bang on performance. The events were bang on. And it's all in all, a true to life account of what actually happened in the Moors murders. If you want to see what Dave, Maureen, Brady and Hindley, what they were like as while they were doing what they were doing, or when they were going through what they were going through in Maureen's case and in Dave's case, if you want to know what Inspector Mounsey was like, then recommended from Terry Kilbride himself is this drama. This will give you a feel of what the Moors murders was like, what the families went through, and the events. It's a really, really gripping drama. I've seen it many, many, many times. Great acting performance, great storytelling. The fear factor is there, the suspense is there, the emotion is there. It's also done in a sensitive way, regards to, you know, talking about the actual children that were murdered. You don't see anything graphic, which is great. You don't hear the tape recording because it's in the archives. Nobody wants to listen to that. So it's done in a very sensitive way as well. But it also, it's showing the effect that it had on Maureen, the effect it had on Dave, the effect it had on Maureen and her mother, who's obviously also Myra Hindley's mother. So it's that ripple effect out and how it affected everybody around them. Because what Myra Hindley and Ian Brady did, it didn't just affect the victims and the victims' families, it affected their own families, it affected everybody around them, and all relationships broke down. Maureen couldn't even be a mother to her own children anymore because of the actions of a sister and a scumbag boyfriend. So that's my review of See No Evil, The Moors Murders. It is out on Netflix at the end of the month, but it is available now on ITVX. You've just got to listen to like all the crappy adverts that pop up every 10-15 minutes. But if you want to wait for it uninterrupted, it's coming out on Netflix. 2-parter on ITV. Well, there you go. It's the only dramatised version of The Moors Murders, and it is, according to Terry Kilbride, who lived it and was directly affected, it is bang on to the real life events. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that kind of stuff, you know. And yeah, there's the cat. The cat makes it in every single video. I don't know how it happens, but it always does. But on that note, have a great day. And as always, peace out.